Hey Matt, how's it going, bud? Glad you're here. So we'll give people a couple minutes to get online and get situated and get comfortable. Hey Aiden, how's it going, bud? Glad you can join us today. So we've got Matt here, we've got Aiden here. Says we have five other people. I can't see who they are, but if you want to go ahead and do a roll call, let me know who's out there watching. Still, I'd love to have you. Hey Josie, welcome. I'm hoping Quentin shows up because if any of you guys were at summer camp, he had a pretty significant experience with this hot sauce that we're going to be using today. The Hot Ones Last Dab Redux, very hot. Let's see, what does it say? I believe this one is over 1,000,000 Scovilles, which the jalapeno was 5,000, so this is 1,000,000. So figure out uh, figure that out. I'll go into a little more detail as we start adding more and more people to our group. But there's a YouTube channel called First We Feast that has a show where they interview celebrities and ask them questions while eating hot wings. And basically, the wings get progressively hotter. We're not going to be doing that today, but I did take their hottest hot sauce that they use, which is called the Last Dab. I don't know if you can. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can't really tell very well. But this hot wing, I put 6 globs of this stuff on it. So one drop almost killed Quentin over the summer. So if you can imagine, I might be suffering, and for whatever dumb reason, I decided to eat it at the beginning. So we might have some. Oh, hey, we got the haze. Is that? It says Carla. Is that Russell, or is it Russell Jr. or Russell the Third, Russell Jr. or Emily, or the whole crew? But we're glad you guys are joining us. Glad you're here. Yeah, we're all. Oh, hey, Carla. Glad you could be here. So we're. I guess now that you know I'm about to eat a really spicy hot wing, it'll be good to have a medical professional with us. uh, well, we'll look forward to having Emily and Elsa with us. So excellent. Glad you guys are joining. We're going to give a couple minutes before we start our full program, as people are continuing to roll in. We set a time to do something, and it always takes 5 to 10 minutes for everybody to get where they need to be and get comfortable and get set up. So we look forward to having everybody join. Let's see. Okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and get started. I found last week I waited to get the program started for 10 to 15 minutes, which was good because we did have people that continued to come in and join us over time. I found I started to get really, really tired because I'm literally talking, doing stuff for 45 minutes to an hour straight, and by the end I was just really drained, and I don't want to be drained by the end. So figure I'll go ahead and start. So the inspiration for doing this whole thing with the hot sauce uh, was not because of the YouTube channel First We Feast, but because today I want to talk a little bit about inheritance. And what an inheritance is basically what your family gifts you when they pass on. And I've received over the years some pretty cool objects. My uncle passed away. He was a mathematician. He worked, actually, cool story. He worked on the stealth boat He worked for Lockheed Martin designing that. And he kind of had one of those jobs where he would always joke, is like, well, if I told you I have to kill you, but now that it's been what the work that he was doing was 30 years, it's all public knowledge now. But when he passed away, I inherited a copious amount of hot sauce. Like, we're talking 75 bottles, like tons and tons of hot sauce. That was 15 years ago, so all that hot sauce is gone by now. But I really have developed an affinity and love for different kinds of hot sauces. So I've got the Last Dab over here. Anybody who's ever been to Africa knows all about Nando's peri peri sauce. If you're into hot sauce, you can pick that one up. And this isn't very hot, but this is a Goya sauce, and that's what I picked up. In the Dominican Republic. When we were in the Dominican Republic, I picked up a bottle of this so that we would have hot sauce wherever we were going. It's actually a Puerto Rican hot sauce, but it's still really good. I put a couple behind me. I don't know if you can see them. Nope, you can't see them. But I inherited maybe 75 to 80 bottles. But I also, over the years, I've accumulated all sorts of hot sauces. And I just like putting it on everything. One of the interesting things is when Carolyn and I first started dating, she did not eat spicy food at all. Like, absolutely, like, none. She couldn't handle it. Like, takes a bite of just anything even mild, she turned bright red. And throughout the course of us being in a relationship and dating, and I love to cook, and basically I would make everything as mild as I possibly could to get it to the point where she would be able to eat it, but I also was able to like enjoy the flavor of the hot sauces and things like that. And it's funny now because over the years I'll make something and I'll be like, "Ooh, this is hot." I'm not sure Carolyn's gonna be willing to eat this, and she'll just start eating it and not even notice, just because you build up a affinity for it and you don't really know that you're not used to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We've got 10 of us in here. So that was the story about the hot sauce. So I figure I'm going to do this in the beginning. Oh, hey, Andy, glad you could make it. We're going to do this in the beginning. This is a hot ones. Actually, I'm going to use my hands to eat this one. You don't want to use your hands to eat the really, really spicy one because if you touch your face, it's going to burn really bad. But these are just regular buffalo. Like, not totally mild, but also not very hot either. So I'll get started. Ooh, I just realized when I went over to get a drink from the kitchen and I forgot it. So if I start dying and I have to run to the kitchen, so be it. But I do have some ranch dip that I made over here. So what do you guys think? Let's get some votes in there. Am I going to have to jump up and run to the kitchen to get a drink? I think I might. This is a 1-drop hot sauce, makes you really uncomfortable. And I put 6 drops on it. So it's no doubt spicier than usual. This is like you put 1 drop on an entire plate of food and it's just burning. But one of the things that I love about this hot sauce is that it tastes really good. There's some hot sauces that they're really, really hot, but it's just like, it tastes terrible. It's like, yeah, it's melting your face off, but it like feels like it's just like acetone or something, right? So this one, it tastes really, really good. I promise you. It reminds me of a lot of the Caribbean spices. You can tell it's probably got some different Caribbean spices in there, probably some turmeric and different things like that. But I'm going to give it a shot. So Russell says, yes, I'm going to have to go. Josie thinks I'm going to have to run to the kitchen. Oh, yeah. I guess it doesn't help that I also think I'm going to go to the kitchen. I guess I should be a little more confident. All I know is this made The Rock cry. This made Gordon Ramsay pretty angry at the world. He's always angry at the world, but it made him really angry at the world. So I'm going to give this guy a show and see if it knocks the wind out of me. I was definitely not planning on putting the whole thing in my mouth, but it started to break off, and then I realized, And then I realized I was going to grab it with my hand, but I didn't want to touch it. I think I'm going to be okay. But this is definitely, I don't know if you guys have ever gotten like really spicy Thai food and you go, see, I'm always hesitant when I get Thai food because if I say I want a 10, whew, that's hot. If I say I want a 10, they like have a desire to make you suffer. So like I usually go with an 8 because that way I get it hot enough. Have you ever had something really spicy that you suddenly lose your ability to control your salivary glands? Like I might start drooling on camera. But I think I'm going to be okay. I think I can possibly survive. We'll see. It's one of those like the heat keeps growing and growing and growing. So I might be in tough shape later on down the road, but I think I'm going to be okay for now. I won't go do it now. I think I can survive without it at the moment. Oh, that's really hot though. I wish you guys could smell it. Okay, so one of the things I inherited was a hot sauce collection from my uncle, and I think because of that and the relationship that we had, that it just really makes me love spicy food because it reminds me of him. Another thing I inherited from him was a buck knife, which this is a couple cool stories behind it. This is an authentic buck knife. I'm guessing it's from the early 70s. So it looks really, really small in the picture, but I just have really chunky hands. So it's probably a 4.5 inch blade. So I inherited this from my uncle, I think it was probably closer to 20 years ago now that he passed away. So I was in high school when I inherited this. I took it with me to a missions trip in Peru, and one of the local guys borrowed it, and then somehow the sheath that it went in disappeared. So he made me this. He cast me this. It's a cast case. Like basically he traced it, used wood, made a mold, and made me a cast case. So it's kind of cool. It's got that. But then the other cool thing is when Carolyn's grandfather passed away, I inherited a knife from the exact same set. So I have two of these buck knives from the exact same set. You can see, you look at them, they're the same, in the same style, right? Same style. And this one's more of like a fishing knife, which got the serrated edge on the other side. And so kind of cool that two men in my life that never met each other, did not know each other, both had something, it builds a connection. They both had something that's similar and is a cool opportunity. So when Carolyn's grandfather passed away, we went to his house and we were clearing out some of the stuff in his garage, and Carolyn's mom, Corrine, would periodically ask me, hey, do you want anything? And one other cool thing that I got was this really old torch. So I've used it. It works. This is the original propane tank that came with it. So this is just like the same technology you have like on your propane lanterns that you use like while camping. So you can basically unscrew this top nozzle, and if you have like just like a regular camping style propane bottle like you use for a lantern, you can use those as well. But I was thinking it would be fun if we tried to make some indoor s'mores. Whew, my mouth is still spicy. Oh no! I forgot. You're supposed to put a last dab on. I forgot to do the last dab. Shoot. Okay, I'll eat a regular wing and I'll put another dab. Oh boy. There we go. Oh man. This is a bad idea. See all that? That's a big glob right there. Sorry. The reason it's called the last dab is because you're supposed to put a glob on it because it's going to be the last one. So they call it the last dab, one last dab of hot sauce. So I'm going to eat this one, and we'll see how it goes. I managed to do that last one without having to make a trip. But that last one also had other flavors on it. So this one's a buffalo to start. I just got a big glob on my music sheet. I think we'll be okay. Ooh, that's bad. Okay, so I didn't think this through. I don't have a drink. I don't have a napkin. I don't think Carolyn would approve of me using our living room blankets. That's what you can't. If you can't tell, if you can't tell, that's where I am. I'm in our living room. That's the TV behind me. So what I was thinking is I would try to roast a marshmallow in here with you guys. So I got some marshmallows. I got my handy prong. Okay. So I moved the carpet. That's hot. I moved the carpet. That last dab got me more than the last. Whew. I'm okay. I'm starting to drool again. So unflattering. Okay, so back to what was I doing? Okay, I'm okay. I think we'll see. My eye is starting to water a little bit. So I was thinking I would roast a marshmallow. So Carolyn, I'm going to move my Bible because that would be, I don't think that would make you guys would love it, but I don't think the rest of the congregation would appreciate me lighting a Bible on fire in our student program. So here we go. I see we added a few more people. Is there anybody that hasn't chimed in on the chat that's out there that I don't know? I know we've got Andy, Matthew, Russell, Aiden, Josie, Elsa, Emily. Here we go. Okay. I am one of those people. If only Ian. I am one of those ones that does not like lighting it on fire. I'm gonna hold it down lower. You can't tell. This is a really hot torch. This is a good looking hollow. Yeah, I am definitely one of the preferred slow roasted golden brown people. People that light their marshmallow on fire and then eat it really bug me. It's like, where's your patience? So, I am currently operating a torch in our living room. This is a gift that my mother-in-law got me, so I think she understands who I am. So, if I accidentally burn down the house, we'll no longer have a wooden sign either. Okay, but I'm going to turn this off before I hurt myself. Not the best job ever. I did get a little bit of burning. Josie, what did I do to offend you? There was like, oh, wow, thanks, Richard. I was shouting out people who were here, and I mentioned you. What did I do wrong? Cool. So I'm going to eat my marshmallow, and then I'm going to cool down my mouth a little bit. I'm not really looking forward to, because my mouth is still quite warm from the last dab. So I'm not looking forward to putting something hot in my mouth, temperature-wise. But it is what it is. Oh, Josie, are you a firelighter? You burn your marshmallows? Josie, do you prefer lighting your marshmallows on fire? That's terrible. Okay. But just so you guys know, I did take safety into I've got a fully charged fire extinguisher. I'm going to put some of this stuff on the ground just to free up a little bit of space. I'm going to eat some celery with ranch to tone down my mouth a little bit. So the game I have for you guys today, I think you're really going to enjoy. So for those of you guys that know me well, you know I love basketball. I love basketball. One of the biggest bummers of this whole COVID-19 process for me was March Madness was canceled, which is the significant basketball tournament for college basketball. The NBA season's been hit pause. Like, my thing is like, oh, cool, I have to stay home for a month. I'm going to watch basketball every day. But that's not happening. So I've went back and I've rewatched some basketball games from the past that are considered legendary. Some of the Bulls finals runs, things like that. But I've got a game for you guys. We've played it before, so a lot of you guys might know how it works, but it's called Nailed It or Failed It, but this is a basketball edition. So the way it works is we're going to play the beginning of a video. We're going to play the beginning of a video, and you're going to have to try to guess whether you think the person nails it, like successfully makes the play, or do they fail it? Do they totally butcher what they were trying to do? So I'm going to slide over a little bit. Take my... Sorry with me. Okay. Okay, here we go. Nailed it or failed it? Try it. So, guys, go ahead and chime in if you think this guy successfully nails the dunk. You think you failed. Nail, we got an Allie. Hey, Allie, welcome. This is the first time I heard from you. We got a nailed it from Allie. What else? Anybody else got your votes in? Nailed it, failed. Nail, fail. Okay, votes are in. Here we go. Try it. Nailed it. Okay, so whoever said nailed it on the first one, good job. Here we go, next one. Okay, what do we think? Nailed it or failed it? I'm waiting to give you guys a chance to get your votes in. I know sometimes there's some lag and people don't hear. We got fail, nail, fail. Okay, here we go. Nailed it. Okay. Who's 2 for 2 so far? If you've gotten 2 for 2 so far, put me in your comment. Okay, I'm gonna start playing this next one. Way to go, Russell. Nailed it or failed it? Russell's the only person that said he got it correct, but we'll see. Ali's saying fail. Give you guys a couple seconds to get your answers in. So you guys can go ahead and keep putting your answers in. I'm going to move us along, expedite the process a little bit. Here we go. That was a massive fail. And that guy was miraculously lucky. he did not get severely injured. My sister had a friend in, my nose is starting to run. My sister had a friend in college who he went to go dunk the basketball, and somebody hit his legs out from underneath him, and he fell back like that and broke both of his wrists. Like, can't imagine how difficult it would be to live life with 2 broken wrists. Okay, here we go. Next one. I think, Andy, you might know who I'm talking about, but that guy kind of looks like Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors. Okay, fail. Very little faith in this guy. Anybody want to give him the benefit of the doubt? Nail. Allie. I may have misled you. Here we go. He was not even close. Not even close. Okay, here we go. Next one. Here we have another guy trying to jump over a car. Except that last one didn't seem like the guy was a professional. This guy kind of looks like he's in a setting where they're not just playing around in the backyard. So we got Andy's got a nail. Okay, we got. You guys can keep putting your comments in. I'm going to go ahead and start hitting the next button. We got fail, nail. Good job, guys. Way to get your votes in. Here we go. That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, quite a few of you guys got it right. Okay, I don't know if you caught it, but it's behind the failed it sign. But basically, one of her teammates got down like in a pyramid stance so that she could try to jump off of her back. So we got some fail. Nobody's give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, here we go. Yeah, no bueno. Here we go, next one. There's nothing to it. I believe I can. Okay, here we go. Got a fail. Got a nail. Fail. This guy is trying to recreate the iconic Michael Jordan free throw dunk. Let's see how he does. I mean, he looks good, but not even close. Not even close. So he failed it, but his form looked good, even though he wasn't even close to dunking. Here we go.
Fourth attempt.
Here we go. 4th attempt for this guy. Did he fail or did he nail it? Let's see. Get your comments in. Fail. Matthew says fail. Russell says fail. Andy says fail. Ali says fail. Josie says fail. Man, you guys are harsh.
4th attempt. Yes! Not bad from Spidey. He's trying to get into the finals.
I'm not sure it was an epic success, but he did successfully dunk the basketball without fail. So, it is a nailed it. So, here we go. We got 3 more. What do you guys think? Did he fail it or did he nail it? Comments coming in. Fail. Okay, you guys can keep putting your answers, and I'm going to go ahead and play. Fail. Okay, that reminds me of a story. I used to know a guy named Chaz who played basketball for Texas A&M University. And he told me a story of a time in a basketball game. He kind of had a fast break dunk like that. He full on, he didn't just lay it in, but he, dunked it as hard as he could, And he was just, afterwards, he's all hyped up about it. And he didn't realize that it hit the rim and just flew off. And, so he ran all the way back down the court thinking he'd successfully dunked the ball, but he hadn't. He said it was pretty embarrassing. But still, he can dunk. That's cool. What do you guys think? Fail it or nail it? Here we go. We got some fail. Somebody said it's an Easter miracle right before he started, so I don't know what that might indicate. There we go. Not even close. Yeah, you guys all got that one correct. Okay, last one. Here we go. Nailed it or failed it. Get your votes in. Got fail. Nail. Not a lot of hope in this one. Hi, Russell. Nail. That was so epic. The guy full-on dunked and then went through the basket. I'm fairly certain if I was able to jump that high, I would probably get stuck in the basket. And I'm not exactly the skinniest guy, but I think my waist would be the least of my problems. There's no way this fits down a basketball hoop. Ever. Barely fits into a trash can. Not to try to get me into a trash can. Okay, so I'm going to transition a little bit right now. I'm going to finish this wing. So, the reason I brought up all these things to show you guys about the hot sauces I inherited from my uncle, the torch I inherited from Carolyn's grandfather. I didn't share. This isn't actually the original one, but from my grandmother, I did inherit a cast iron skillet. So this is not the one I inherited from my grandmother. Unfortunately, I did a stupid thing and it broke. Leave it to Richard to break something that's iron, but that's what happens when you're camping and you have a limited number of tools. But I inherited a cast iron skillet. I inherited these knives, the one from my uncle and one from Carolyn's grandfather. So one thing in the comment section, you guys don't need to do it now in the live chat, but if you want to, after this video gets posted to YouTube, you can go in and comment on some of the cool things that you've been able to inherit over the years, the legacy of things that people found valuable that they wanted to pass on to you. You can leave that in the comment section. But we're going to take a look at a parable basically a parable is just another word for a story. So we're going to take a look at a story that Jesus told. Jesus frequently would have somebody ask him a question. He would have somebody ask him a question, and then his response to the question would be a story to make a point. Kind of like, like Aesop's fables, the tortoise and the hare story, right? It's a story that's told in order to make a point, right? So this is a parable, and it's called the parable of the rich fool. It's in Luke chapter 12. So if you want to get your Bibles out, you can go ahead and do that. If not, I'm going to read it out loud. I'll get the basketball off the screen. This is our Restless series because we're restless. But this is in Luke chapter 12, verses 13 to 21. So I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher," speaking to Jesus, "tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Right? So first off, one of the things we don't necessarily understand plainly today, how inheritance worked back then. So the reality of it is you guys would definitely probably think that inheritance 2,000 years ago was not fair. Because basically, whoever was the oldest son got everything, and the other son got nothing. So Andy, congratulations, you're going to get it all. Matthew, bum luck, you're a little too, not quite old enough. Andy's going to get it all, and Andy's going to do whatever he wants with it. And that's just how it was. So the reason this person came up and asked this question is because he's basically saying, like, hey, this isn't fair. I should be getting something, right? And we kind of all have that mentality of we feel like we deserve things, right? We deserve, like, oh, I deserve to do this because I did my homework, or I deserve to do this, right? And we have a very strong sense of entitlement of what we deserve, right? So this guy comes up to Jesus and he says, "Tell my brother to divide the inheritance." And Jesus is like, well, he replied, "Who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then he said, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in abundance of possessions." Right? So he's basically, this guy's coming up to Jesus and he's saying, "Hey, Jesus, I think your job is to help me get what I want." And Jesus is like, "Hey, I don't think you recognize what's going on right now. I don't think you're recognizing what you're doing, but you're just basically saying, I want, gimme, right?" That's childlike behavior. You know, we call it the gimme section is where they put all the candy bars at the checkout counter so that every kid that goes through with a parent's like, "I want a Milky Way, I want this, I want that," right? So they call it the gimme section. So then he went on to tell this parable. He said, "The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, 'What should I do? I have no place to store my crops.' Then he said, 'This is what I do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God." Right? So we very much so live in a society where we are consumer driven. Like, we want nice things. We want, I love the fact that I have a really nice cast iron skillet that I get to use to cook it at home. I've got a nice big TV, right? And life is good. And Jesus is saying, like, he's not saying those things are bad, but he's basically telling this man, hey, you don't have your priorities right. He's like, honestly, I have some friends that are very wealthy, but they're also very generous, and I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with people having money. But Jesus is getting at the heart of the issue of the fact that the man just wants more and more and more. And he says, and he's not thinking about the fact that, hey, God provided for me. God has provided for me. He's saying, oh, I have so much stuff. I need a bigger space to put it all in, to store it. And then after I've done that, then I don't need to do anything else, and I can just stop. Right? So he's kind of saying that Jesus is trying to, and Jesus is telling this story, one, for our benefit, but also in acknowledgement of the young man who said, hey, Jesus, tell my brother that he should give me half of the inheritance because I think I deserve it. And he's just saying, your perspective is a little wrong right now, right? And it's really easy for our perspective to get skewed, especially when it comes to stuff. We always, there's nothing wrong with wanting good things, right? There's another Bible passage where it talks about how God gives good gifts, right? And he wants us to have good things. But the reality of it is when our motivation becomes stronger for the stuff that we want, when the motivation for what we want becomes stronger than our motivation to pursue God, right? So we have the opportunity now. We are in a season, if you guys watch my devotional on Thursday, I was talking about how sometimes in life we just need to start taking baby steps, right? A lot of times we make a commitment and say, oh, I'm going to read my Bible every day for an hour. And it's like, hey, maybe start with 5 minutes today, right? And it's like, the reality of it is, look at me. There's no way I can say, like, oh, I'm going to go out and run a marathon. Not happening. No way. But if I wanted to run a marathon, I would have to go outside, and I would I would probably have to start with just walking for a week straight, and then maybe doing a little jog periodically throughout a walk for another couple weeks, and then starting to increase the distance and moving forward. You don't just go out and start running a marathon. Every step counts. Every movement towards progress. So when we talk about taking baby steps in our faith, it means, what can we do today? What is something simple that we can do today? And that's as simple as hey, joining us today and paying attention during the scripture lesson, right? Or we post devotionals twice a week, watching the devotionals. They're 5 minutes long. They're really short. So you can do that. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to read my Bible for a couple minutes. Or it's like, hey, over the course of the next month, I want to read the entire book of Ephesians. The book of Ephesians is only a couple chapters long, so if you say I want to read it over the course of a month, you could do that because you don't have to do quite as much. So the reality of it is, my challenge for you guys is to take a baby step. What's something that you can do to move forward? And then in Brent's devotional on Tuesday, he talked about how there's a church that in the early church that had a letter written to them called Colossians. So the church. The city is called Colossae, so the Colossian church is in Colossae, and they received this letter from Paul, and the reality of it is, we just celebrated Easter, which was where we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. And the people in Colossae at that time, Jesus had been resurrected, he had ascended into heaven, and he said, I will be coming back someday, right? And for them, they're thinking, okay, he's coming back really soon. He's coming back. He'll be here really soon. So they just got lazy and didn't do anything. And Paul's writing them this letter saying, just because I said I'm coming back, or just Jesus said he's coming back, it doesn't mean you don't have to do anything anymore. You still need to continue, caring for people. You need to make sure that you are loving one another. So we're in a season where we're all stuck at home, but it doesn't mean hey, that means we don't have to do anything. Right? We still have to get work done. We still have to try to study for school. We still have to, do our laundry, clean, take a shower every once in a while. I gave myself a haircut yesterday, or 2 days ago. I did okay. Josie said I could have done a better job, but well, I know Josie definitely could have done a better job, but it got done. It got done. And it's all about just taking one step, one baby step, continuing to make progress, continuing to move forward. And this passage in Luke, it talks about how the rich fool is how God describes him. The rich fool is what Jesus calls him. And he just basically says, you're hoarding God's blessings, right? And we've been experiencing some hoarding with people that have been doing all sorts of stuff with toilet paper. We talked about in our very first episode of Restless, where this person saw somebody buying a bunch of toilet paper. Then he was calculating how many times that guy could go to the bathroom every day. It was he could go to the bathroom every day 15 times for 7 weeks or something like that. He was kind of mad that this guy was taking all the toilet paper. And that's kind of what this story is talking about. It's hey, if I get everything I need right now, if I get everything I want right now, I don't have to depend on God. I don't have to depend on his provision. And it's basically saying he lets greed come in and devalue the blessing that God had given, right? It went from I'm so glad I have to an I want. So it's really important for us to remember, in our faith, it's important for us to make progress. It's important for us to move forward, but it's also really important for us to hit the pause button every once in a while and be really thankful for what we have, and have joy because of what we have. Because the reality of it is this is just a knife, right? It's just a knife. but I cherish it and I value it and I enjoy it. This is just a blowtorch. And who doesn't love a good blowtorch? But it's just a blowtorch. It's just stuff, right? And God's challenge to us is just saying, it's not about how much you can store up, but it's about knowing you're blessed with what you have. And then in this passage, it talks about it doesn't do you any good to have a whole bunch of stuff if you're not rich in your faith, right? So the baby step I challenge you guys to do is try to move forward of how can you grow in your faith in this season? Because it's really easy to hit the pause button of like, okay, I don't have to have my faith. I don't have to worry about it because I'm not going to be out in public, so nobody's going to see me anyway. And nobody's going to know if I'm at church because we're all watching it online, so it doesn't matter if I go. It's really easy for us to fall stagnant. But this parable that Jesus tells is he's trying to illustrate the importance of how much wealth a relationship with God has, the value of that. Because a lot of times we give people status based off of what they have. You guys have maybe seen a bumper sticker. I realize most people that say this are joking, but as they say, it says, whoever dies with the most toys wins, right? And he's saying it's not about how much stuff you have, but it's about the depth of your relationship with Jesus, right? And it doesn't matter how much you have. That you guys probably know some really wealthy people that are absolutely miserable, right? You guys probably really know some really wealthy people that are absolutely miserable. So my challenge for you guys is take a baby step in your faith, whatever that might be. You can comment that in the comment section after this video is posted as well, of just, I want to read my Bible for 5 minutes a day. I want to be able to spend time in prayer every day. I'm going to read the book of Ephesians by the end of April, right? Various things that we can do to further along our faith. So in closing, I'm gonna play a song, and for those of you guys that were here last time, I was talking about there is nobody here. I'm literally the only one here. We had Brent here for a couple of days or a couple of sessions, but we realized we shouldn't have him coming in and out. He's got kids, and I'm at risk as a diabetic of getting really sick. So we decided not to do that. And last week I came up, I was like, okay, now we're going to sing a song. And I realized, wait, I can't play the guitar and hit the next button at the same time. So that created a logistical issue. But I worked on it a little bit. It's not flawless, but I'm going to try. And if the words start to get mistimed and whatnot, it's okay. We'll just keep going and I'll keep playing. But we're going to try. I basically made it so that every couple of seconds it goes to the next slide. And then and we'll see how it goes. The reality of it is I tried my best to get it in sync as much as I could, but it is not perfect. At the bridge, it starts having some problems with the pace, and the words start getting off. But if you know the words, just keep singing. If you don't know the words, just listen along or read along. And we are just going to close with a time of worship. So I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we'll start. God, I thank you for today. I thank you for the opportunity to be together and hang out, Lord. I pray that you would continue to bless this community, Lord. It is sad to not be able to meet together in person, Lord, but I pray that this would be a season where we still are able to foster relationships and grow our connections with each other. We just know that you are a God who loves us and you care for us and you see us in this moment. So I just ask that you would fill each one of us with your spirit. Lord, we know we are not together, but your spirit is with all of us. In your holy name I pray, amen. Okay, so the song we're going to do today is Desert Song, so I think a lot of you guys know it. But what I'm going to do is we're going to try to get it so that the timing works where it goes to the next slide automatically. It will mess up. But one of the things I think is great about this song that's really helpful in this situation, because the whole meaning of this song is that just we acknowledge that we go through different seasons of life, and right now we're in a really weird one. The reality of it is I don't think anybody here has ever gone through a quarantine process where they haven't been allowed to go anywhere for an extended period of time. It's possible. Maybe you have. But this is very new for a lot of us. And And Desert Song is all about going through different seasons and understanding that everything around us changes, but God is still the same. He still loves us. He's still worthy of our praise. So we're going to sing Desert Song in closing. Whoops. I'm going to start over. Here we go. Last time. There we go. Here we go. This is my prayer in the desert. This is my prayer in the desert, when all that's within me feels dry. This is my prayer in my hunger and need. My God is the God who provides. Go ahead. This is my prayer in the fire, when weakness or trial or pain. There is a faith through the more worth than gold, so refine me, Lord, through the flame. And I will bring praise, I will bring praise. No weapon formed against me shall remain. I will rejoice, I will declare, God is my victory and peace. Here we go, this is my prayer in the battle. This is my prayer in the battle. We're triumph is still on its way. Triumph is still on its way. I am a conqueror and co-heir with Christ. So on his promise, formed against me shall remain. I will rejoice, I will declare, God is my victory and peace. All of my life, all of my life, in every season, you are still God. I have a reason to sing. I have a reason to worship. All my life again. All of my life, in every season, you are still God. I have a reason to sing. I have a reason to worship. One last time, all of my life. All of my life, in every season, you are still God. I have a reason to sing. I have a reason to worship. I'll bring praise. And I will bring praise. I will bring praise. No weapon formed against me shall remain. I will rejoice. I will declare, God is my victory and peace. This is my prayer in the harvest, favor and providence flow. I know I'm filled to be empty again. The seed of the seed I will sow. God, we thank you for this time. Lord, you take great delight in each one of us. You take great joy when we meet together. And I just know that, God, you're enjoying the fact that we are in your word, that we worship together, Lord, that we gather together in your name. And I just pray that you would continue to be with us, Lord, that you would give an extra dose of comfort to people that are hurting and stressed out, Lord, for parents that might be really frustrated because their work situation is weird and students are transitioning back into trying to do school online. And Lord, I pray that you would just give each of us an extra dose of patience this upcoming week. In your holy name I pray. Amen. Okay, love you guys. Glad we could hang out for a little bit. I remembered to get my Nerf gun loaded. I'm going to put the restless sign, slide that back up. See if I can put you out. Love you guys. Look forward to seeing you when we're allowed to hang out. Oh, no. Malfunction. Oh. I think that was the last one. One of these days, I'm going to try to put the camera, just turn it off using the Nerf gun. Not this week. Maybe next week. Tune in. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.